Today I am looking at this Bulova Lunar Pilot, the braceleted version. I'll tell you why I think that was the way to go. Among other things, let's get into it. Usually when people ask me why watches, I usually say it's either the art, engineering, or history that got me into a particular watch. So it's obviously the history that has got me into this one. As you might know, it is one of only 2 watches that has been on the lunar surface. The first, of course, was the Omega Speedmaster, and this one was actually not even known to the company that made it until a few years ago, when the original, worn by David Scott, was sold at auction for about $1.5 million. For more on that history, I'm not going to get into it. I'll refer you to like Teddy Baldassar or other articles that have gotten more into it. I mostly want to focus on my wearing experience and some unique thoughts that I've had, because after all, you've probably already seen plenty of reviews on it already, but I do think I have a couple of unique points. The first one is about marketing. Bulova initially called this the other moon watch in some of its marketing material. I don't like that. It kind of sounds like, oh, this is my other son. This is my other truck. This is my backup. I mean, it was a backup, and Bulova didn't even know about it, like I said, until a few years ago, long after the mission had happened. But I think that they could lean into the fact that it kind of saved Omega's butt, because the Omega lost its crystal and the Lunar Pilot was there as a backup watch to continue to make things go smoothly. Another thing I wanted to talk about is how this is a quartz watch, but how that should not turn you away from it. I understand why people feel more connected with watches that are automatic, that don't need a battery, that just need servicing once in a while. It's just really cool, the engineering that goes into those watches. But this one is not your typical quartz watch. It is Bulova's proprietary 262 kilohertz movement. What that allows this watch to do is to be accurate within 10 seconds in a year. And that's really cool. I'll tell you why that didn't really matter to me, because of how much I reset the watch and how much fun I have with it. But the other thing that the precision quartz does is lets you measure to within 1/10 of a second with its chronograph. That's pretty awesome as well. And I think because it's still a next level engineering thing, it's not just your typical quartz watch, I think that makes it worthwhile. And now we have to look at this beautiful dial. It's not too much different than the Speedmaster, especially in the color scheme, but of course it's its very own unique watch in a lot of other ways. It has 3 subdials. This version has, like I said, the 1/10 of a second meter. The original was a 12-hour chronograph, but for this and the precision movement, it's got that subdial, the small seconds, as well as the minute up to an hour. The concentric circles are lovely. They play with the light. There's an outer ring that is another concentric type circle that shines a little bit. Most of the dial is a matte black, which is nice for legibility, which after all, this was meant to be visible at a glance. I really like the depth of the dial. It's got the applied indices with a silver outlining that just barely shines enough to make it known. You can't always see it, but I still really like it. I would prefer if they had the old Bulova logo. There are other versions of the watch that do have that. However, I do like the date window. The date wheel is color matched, so I don't really have a problem with it, and I like knowing the day. I'm a teacher. Students ask the date all the time, and I like having it, just right there. So it's just really useful. Even if it throws the balance of the dial off, I would prefer to have the date no matter what. Another thing you may notice is that the tachometer is under glass. I think that that's a great idea. It's going to preserve it. You're not going to get any scratches on it like you do with a Speedmaster or really most other watches that have tachometers on the bezel. Some people like that. The scratches tell a story, but hey, I want to keep my watch pretty clean. Then you got the hands, which are, they're just nice long hands that contrast with the dial. They'll be able to help you tell the time quickly at a glance. And that's all I really want out of my hands in a watch. Now, I think a lot of people have heard the complaints about the size of this watch. I have a 7¼ inch wrist, so I don't think I have any problem pulling this thing off. I really like how it wears. Sometimes I like to have smaller watches, sometimes I like to have something with a little bit bigger dial, bigger presence, and so I feel like this is fine. I've even heard somebody say that as long as you have the bracelet version, you should be able to pull it off with a 6½ inch wrist, which, I mean, it really depends on how you wear it and what you like to experience while it's on your wrist. One thing that I don't hear mentioned a lot is how the bracelet version, the lugs are drilled closer to the case. So when you put it on straps or something else besides this bracelet, it's gonna wear a little bit better, I think. I tried one on a jeweler one time, and it was the leather strap version. I didn't like it because there was space between the case and where the strap got put on. However, when I tried to put a strap on the braceleted version, I love strap switching, you can see that the strap falls right over my wrist before even the end of the lugs. Now, with the other version of the watch, where the lug holes are drilled more towards the outside, it's not going to happen like that. It's going to poke out at least 2 to 3 millimeters more. So if you're on the fence about the size, try the braceleted version, and I think the straps are going to work a little bit better. I think it will wear better for the most part in that regard. And let's talk about the bracelet now. I love how the light bounces off this thing, especially in my studio lights here. It just looks really nice. This is actually the most expensive watch I own, so I probably am not the best to say this is, you know, the best bracelet I've ever had on. It is, but I mean, I don't have that great of experience to compare it to. I do like butterfly clasps. Just pop it right off there, and it is signed. Because it is a butterfly bracelet, you can't just replace a clasp and make it clean again. But having the scratches is, you know, part of wear. You shouldn't be ashamed of it. You should enjoy it. So, but that's really my only little complaint about it. I have heard people wish that there was a taper on this thing. I feel like the straight bracelets are just, I don't know, maybe more masculine. I like wearing it as a jeans and t-shirt type of watch with a straight bracelet. Dress watches will work better with a taper. But for this, I think it works. The other thing about the bracelet is it does not match the finishing of the matte style case. I've heard some people make complaints about that, but I don't mind it, mostly because there is a brush on the side of the bezel here. I feel like it, you know, breaks up the case a little bit. I'm not going to complain about it. And then we have this big sapphire glass. It is nice and thick. I have knocked it on a door a couple of times, but I don't have any chips because, like I said, it is sapphire. So it should ease your mind a little bit in that regard. It hasn't shattered, but man, you should see the doorway. It's fine. Nothing happened. Then the other little things is we have these gigantic pushers, and it's got this big giant crown as well. I said earlier that the precision doesn't matter because I'll never be able to really check it after a year to see if it's kept time that well, because I like pulling out the crown. It's just, you know, I'm kind of fidgety. I enjoy that. I just had a light go out. It's okay. No ghosts. We'll be okay. The other little thing with this crystal is it's hard to get on camera, but the light shoots out the side and goes in and out the side in a pretty cool way because it's sandblasted. So that's just a weird little thing that I've enjoyed about the watch myself. And then some thoughts for Bulova. I do hope that someday they make more true to the original version, where they have a mechanical chronograph. It'll be a lot more expensive, but hey, I mean, the other option for a moon watch is the Speedy, and you're gonna be, you know, pretty lucky to find a new one in the $5,000 range. So, I mean, if they make it $2,000 to $4,000, we're still in good shape. So this was my first video. Thanks for watching to the end. I hope to make more videos. I got some new watches coming in, and thank you. Goodbye.